Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome on into the PWTorch Fireside Chat Monday Night Raw preview episode for Monday, October 17th, 2022. How's it going, everybody out there? I'm PWTorch Assistant Editor Zack Heydorn. Hopefully you guys had a wonderful, wonderful weekend. I know I sure did. Boy, here in Chicago, it is it's cold. It's winter again. Or not quite. It's fall, but man, you step outside and you're like, boy, oh boy, I'm not sure. I'm just not sure how much more fall there is before before winter comes on hot or cold, I should say. But thanks for being here. I really appreciate it. We're going to preview Monday Night Raw like we do every single week. If you haven't done so already, please go ahead and click subscribe on our channel. I'd very much appreciate it. It really helps. It helps us. It helps the brand. Helps the channel, and hopefully helps you with some great content on a day-to-day basis. Dennis, hello. Thanks for joining us. Much appreciated. Dennis, glad that you're here. Glad you're able to fit us into your schedule. But as I was saying, subscribe to the channel. We've got some new stuff hidden every single day. We preview Raw on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. It's NXT preview and Dynamite. We have our flagship YouTube show, the PWTorch Fireside Chat flagship, which is with me and PWTorch contributor Tyler Sage. That's Thursdays at 4 Eastern. And then Friday, we're back previewing SmackDown. That's all live. All live stuff that you can get in on the action. Give us your questions, your thoughts, your comments. We debate. Last week on the Fireside Chat, we had a long debate on what wrestling should be and what it is and what's appropriate, what's not. It was a really fun debate about pro wrestling that we had, Tyler and myself, but also with our audience too. So it was really, really fun. So check that out. And then last but not least, we've got a host of different kinds of content going up throughout the week as well, whether it's interviews or something else altogether. It's up there. I interviewed Davey Vega, independent wrestler Davey Vega, over the weekend. That's up. He's provided some really cool insight into tag team wrestling and just what goes into being a tag team on the independent circuit. Not having that kind of home-based promotion necessarily, but you're working with somebody else. You got to get your schedule aligned. He really went in deep on tag team wrestling, and I encourage everybody to check it out. It was really, really eye-opening experience. Okay, well let's get down to business. Let's get down to business at hand today. Hazan, thank you for joining us. And yes, Road Dogg's in charge tonight. Triple H is ill, I believe. We get a heavy dose of Road Dogg. I don't know, Hazan. I'm not reading too much into Road Dogg being in charge, right? Like, he's in charge, yes, but I really don't think that he's there without specific instructions on what to do, when to do it, how to shoot it, how to produce it. Like, I think Triple H still has his hands all over this, just because it's so darn important. You're running up against Monday Night Football, and there's some big stuff happening on the show today too, including like a talent in Brock Lesnar who is prickly at best, I guess you could say, right? So if you know that, it's like you're going to tread lightly. Like, this is not the Road Dogg show. Yeah, like when Vince was gone, everything was run by Vince anyway. And that's really got to be that has to be what happens. That has to be the way. Triple H is in charge. It's his neck on the line. So, gotta be him. In addition to Monday Night Football, you've got a pretty darn big Major League Baseball playoff game, Yankees and Guardians. And so a big market too, like New York. So it will be interesting to see what the ratings are like for this show, given all that they have on it. There's two big matches that have been announced. There's also a big appearance from Brock Lesnar that's been announced. And so let's start there. Let's start. What's up, Sean? Good to have you here. Thanks, man. Appreciate you being with us, as always. So Brock Lesnar. First and foremost, I'll throw it out to the chat. What do you guys think of his return last week? So I'm going to leave it open-ended. Drop it in. We'll read through a couple of them. Brock returning last week was, to me, like a positive for the star power of the show, right? On a regular or even semi-regular basis. Brock Lesnar adds a certain amount of cachet as a star, and that's the reality of it. And so because of that, I think that properly influences the show in a positive direction, without question. That said, I thought last week was a little confusing from Brock too, in that he's kind of has this. He's a baby face. He's been a baby face, and so because of that, why are we going down this road of him challenging Bobby Lashley and reigniting that feud? It seems totally counterproductive to me. I think the audience wants to cheer Brock. I think the audience wants to cheer. Wants to cheer Bobby Lashley, and now you give them a reason to not cheer one or the other. Like I just don't get that part of it. I get like that Brock lives in his own little world and his own little ecosystem, but you still have to fit him into. You still have to fit him into like the fabric of your show, and you can't just like discount the fact that Bobby Lashley's been a pretty hot babyface since the middle of June or middle of May, and now you're what? You're sacrificing that for what? For a match at at Crown Jewel? Like it just seems really counterproductive to me. And so here's what my hope. My hope is that tonight with Brock, we get more of like just a babyface versus babyface story here. Like, there's no reason why Brock Lesnar can't walk out to the ring and go, "Hey, I got my one-off shot back. That was for the Royal Rumble or wherever it was, and now I just want to get you in the ring, and I want you're Bobby Lashley, and you've proven a lot this past year, and I want the best, and I want you in the ring at Crown Jewel in Saudi Arabia." Like that's a very babyface way to get to that match. You can have Lashley come out and accept the challenge, and then boom, off you go. So if you have to do the match, that's the way to do it. And don't dilute your two baby faces because you just want to have this big match. Give it a story, give it some background, give fans permission to just sit back and enjoy both guys fighting each other to see who's best, rather than Brock kind of, blindsiding Lashley a little bit and attacking him, hitting him with the F5. And then tonight, which is what I think is going to happen, we're going to get Brock out there, and Lashley's going to interrupt, and I think it's going to get physical in the opposite way, where Lashley gets some of that juice back. And I just, I don't know. I just think it's totally counterproductive. That's what I don't like about it. It's just, it's just not, it's just not conducive to what they're trying to do. Great stuff going in the chat here. Brock doesn't need to be heel. No, he doesn't. I totally agree. Naturally, like, look, I feel like WWE's wanted Brock cheered for so long, and now they finally have him in a good place to get cheered, and he's working with another babyface. Like that's wrong to me. How did Bobby Lashley wrong Brock Lesnar? Well, he beat him, but that's if you're a babyface, you act differently about that. So yeah. Dr. Ross, welcome. Thank you for being here. And Santo, well, welcome as well from cold Chicago. Yes, it's super cold. I'm not looking forward to the rest of winter. And Sean, I didn't expect to get the new jingle for calling in. Humbled. Dr. Ross, you're super smart in the business for sure. Yeah, you are, Dr. Ross. And Sean, congrats. Fun little jingle, man. God, I love it. Can't wait to play it someday when I'm sitting in the host chair. And then let's just touch on Dennis's point here too. You have the idea here where, all right, you're sacrificing everything to get this match off the ground, Brock Lesnar versus Bobby Lashley. And then it's not even happening like in the regular cadence of your shows and your calendar of events. It's happening in Saudi Arabia where some people don't even watch the show. If people do, I'm sure a certain of them are kind of, just like kind of rolling their eyes at why is this happening out there? It's just another one of those moments where, a paid for show, like a paid for show times a lot, is getting some of these matches that really are hurting the momentum of everything else that's happening on the show. And this happens regularly around Crown Jewel time, and it's happening again here. So, I'm looking forward to seeing what Brock does tonight. But my concern, guys, is just that it's going to, further muddy the waters of both their babyface characters, them being him and Lashley, and to what end? And that's the part that I'm just concerned by. And I'm like, it's just not necessary. Okay, if you have more comments on Brock Lesnar, I'd love to hear him. I mean, he's a fascinating topic, fascinating subject to talk about, just because of how interesting he is, and as Azan says, how much power he has inside that company for whatever reason. And we'll see what he does for the ratings tonight too. Up against two major sporting events, it could be a bit of a bloodbath. So we'll see if Brock is around, and him being around, what does that do for that number? Does it cushion it or not? Okay, let's just go through the chat here. No, Dr. Ross, there's no bloodline scheduled to appear tonight. Scheduled to appear. It doesn't mean they won't, but nothing being promoted right now. All right, so a couple little items that we'll get to before the last big two. Elias is making his return. Guys, I don't know what to say. Elias is coming back. Ezekiel is no more, I guess. And so that gets a thumbs up from me. But this Elias thing, it's like, oh gosh, like, come on, can we just call it a day with this gimmick? Like, it's more than past the expiration date on it, and it fit. Even though I didn't like it, it fit in a Vince McMahon WWE world. But it just seems as if the tone has shifted a little bit, where it's now that gimmick is going to look even more goofy than it did before. It's one note, and it's not. Oh gosh, I'm not. It's going to get a big pop. I don't know, Hazan, that I'd call it over. Like I just don't like over to what extent. I guess that's what it means. If you're saying grading him on a scale of comedic, comedic overness, like R-Truth, okay, then I guess yes, he's over. But is he like over? Can draw money for you over? No, I don't think you can. I just don't think you can. I just don't think you can say that. Period. So he's going to be there. I'm not expecting much. Maybe you get a heel to get some heat on him. Maybe that's where you see the bloodline. They beat him up. Not that I'm advocating for that, because I think the bloodline would get a little bit watered down, kind of doing business with Elias. But hey, weirder things have happened. Dennis, he did get his start at NXT. I don't know whether Triple H loves him or not. He was a different character in NXT though. Like in NXT, he played like this drifter character and was this drifter act, not like a one-note musician guy that made fun of hometown sports teams. Like, it was a totally different type of thing. I don't think it was particularly effective in NXT either, but it certainly had more depth, and the character had more layers than it does on the main roster, or that it has on the main roster. So to that end, yeah, I mean, if he's going to come back and he's going to be more of like a real person, and he's going to adopt that drifter kind of persona again, I'm here for that. I'd be willing to see that through. But if it's just like strumming the guitar, walk with Elias catchphrase guy, yeah, I think that's way past the expiration on that for sure. Also, we have the Alpha Academy taking on Gallows and Anderson, who made their return to WWE last week on the show. This is one of those moments where if you're Paul Levesque, you have to say to yourself, okay, do I want to see a good match here, or do I want to really present Gallows and Anderson as a threat of some kind, or as a dangerous team of some kind, or a competitive team? Maybe danger is the wrong word, because this is the predicament that he's in. Gallows and Anderson and Alpha Academy can have a really great match together. I mean like a really great match together. I mean, you have two tag teams there that know what they're doing, that people are invested in, and so I think you could have, if you wanted to, like a really good long 2-3 segment match. But is that the most prudent use of Gallows and Anderson right now? And I would argue no. Like, for as much as I want to see Alpha Academy and Gallows and Anderson have a 20-minute kind of classic TV match, I really think you have to take this moment to establish Gallows and Anderson as a force to be reckoned with. You know, early on in their first run, they were defined down, and not that they're going to be main event guys. It's not about that. But I think within the tag team division, and even within the middle of the card, you want to establish them as guys that matter, and that guys are dangerous. Like, and to do that, I think you need decisive wins. I just think you do. I think you need a decisive victory. And so that means quick, and I think that means to the point. And I hope that's what we get tonight as they build to whatever they're going to do with them, AJ Styles and Judgment Day. It's been a while. It's been a while, Dennis, for sure. But they have it in them. You know, they have it in them. They've shown that before. Like, if you watch some of their work in New Japan, and you watch some of their work, even in Impact, they've had some good matches. I just don't know that they're really what's the word I'm looking for? Motivated, I guess. You know what I mean? Like, but you put them in a situation where they could be with opponents that matter, and I think you can get something special there. Maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm kind of got the rose-colored glasses on. I don't know. We'll see. You guys can all remember to this day, October 17th, 2022. If it blows up and Gallows and Anderson don't turn into anything, you can go, Zach, what in the blue hell were you talking about, man? I'm okay. I'm okay with that. Boy, oh boy, Steven from Portugal. My goodness gracious. Thank you very much for joining us. That sounds like one heck of a trip. So good for you. Going through more comments here. Yeah. Is it really 70 in DC? Super jealous. Okay. Also on tonight's show, we have Dexter Loomis. My goodness, is going to be on Raw, and he's going to face The Miz. If he beats The Miz, Dexter will get a contract with WWE. This story, how do I say this? I'm willing to see it play out. Okay, let me know if you are in the chats, because I want to see how this goes. But there's a lot of it that really doesn't make any sense. Like, okay, he hasn't had a contract this whole time, Dexter Loomis. He's been in and out of running at Raw and backstage and under the ring, and he hasn't had a WWE contract. Like, that's just so hard to believe, I guess, you know. And the storyline to begin with is already hard to believe. So it's like, you add those two elements together that are both very difficult to get behind. And I think it creates a story and a feud that's just a little bit too out there. And what happens if he doesn't win? Like, if he doesn't win, he's in the exact same spot as he is right now, right? He can still come to Monday Night Raw, right? He can still terrorize the Miz. Like, we haven't heard the mission statement. We haven't had any context given around why he's doing this to the Miz. And so if he loses, I don't think there's any investment as to people being disappointed that he's gone, because nobody really knows why he's there. And that's where I think this feud is missing the most. It's not so much the different angles. Like those, I think have been fun, and I think those have been hit or miss, which is what you're going to get with that kind of thing. But if you had like a foundation to put this feud back on, like if you had that, you could build something I think more relatable and easier for the audience to invest. Because right now it's like, okay, they either like the content or they don't. And if they don't, I think they're going to be turned off from this match. And if they do, they also may be turned off for this match because there's still no concrete reason as to why, why should people be cheering Loomis on this? Miz is the heel, and I get that, but like he broke in to Miz's house when his kids were there. Like that's you're crossing a line there. And so it's like, I just think the feud has lost its way a little bit. And, here's to hoping they can find it again. Here's to hoping they can build it back. Maybe this match will be the start of it. The other issue is if you've seen NXT, Loomis is not like, a top level worker. Like he's got this character, and I think he plays that character well, whether you like the character or not. He invests himself in it, but that has never translated to the ring, into somebody that you really need to go out of your way to watch. So he's kind of one note in that regard. And, the Miz is the Miz. And I just don't think the Miz is the guy to bring out, a top tier, even 3-star match with him. It just doesn't seem like that's in the cards at this point. So this should be interesting to see. I have no doubt. I think Loomis is going to win this and get his contract. But in terms of how it goes, it could go a lot of different ways. And one of them, maybe it is Ciampa. We haven't seen Tommaso Ciampa in a long, long while. It's been a bit. So maybe he gets back involved in the finish. He was with the Miz before. Maybe he's, seen the error of his ways and goes on to help Loomis take out the Miz. I don't know, but that's out there. I suppose just a clean win is out there. Like if Loomis is going to go over strong and they've got some decent plans for him, for better or worse, I mean, you could have a situation where Loomis just wins and gets his contract and moves on. So I don't know, but I am intrigued. I'm willing to give it a chance. 5-star classic. I'm thinking not, but hey, here's to hoping. All right, last but not least, the other promoted element tonight that they have is a match between Matt Riddle and Seth Rollins for the WWE United States Championship. Rollins won the title last week from Bobby Lashley. Won it after Lesnar attacked Lashley, and people are going to have their thoughts on that. I was okay with it. Seth is a heel. If he goes in there and has a 5-star match and tears it up and wins the title, and he wins it that way, he's going to get pop. He's going to get a big time pop. And some of that's his fault because he fans that, because he wants people to acknowledge him out there. And I don't mean in a Roman Reigns way, but just like in a way that recognizes him as being a strong act. And so he does the song shtick. He does the Welcome to Raw thing, too much. But at the root of it, if you want him to stay heel, you have to give him outs. And I think winning the title the way he did, provided he follows up with it in a similar way this week, I think that can help him kind of get that heel momentum back, like the exclusive heel momentum. Riddle, this is a really interesting spot for Riddle because, and dare I say, maybe kind of a dangerous spot because you had Riddle get the big win over Seth in the Fight Pit, but it certainly doesn't feel like he got that win because Rollins is the one who got the title shot right after. Rollins is the one that's holding gold around his waist. So that will be interesting to see contrast with one another on the show this week. I'm with Sean here. You cannot have Riddle lose clean in this match, and which is unfortunate because I don't think Riddle's going to win, and he's not going to win the United States title. So you're looking at a shenanigan, some kind of DQ, some kind of like schmozz finish. And man, because of that, it's just another one of those moments where you are promoting this match, this big time match. It's all over Twitter right now on WWE's channels. It's all there, and you're promoting this match in a big way that is going to be like some kind of non-finish, right? You can't keep doing that to your top matches on your shows week to week. Last week was better. They had some finishes for matches that they wanted to deliver, but this, you can't get out of this without damaging somebody unless you do some kind of DQ finish. So I think that's exactly what we're going to see here. And that's not a glowing review of that finish, but it's kind of the only way they have to go to keep Riddle strong and to keep Rollins strong and as champion. This is where I wished WWE storylines and like different trajectories and pushes would go hand in hand with one another. Because like for Riddle to win this feud, right, and get that big win over Rollins, only for Rollins to turn around and be in a better spot than Riddle is right now, that's perplexing. Like you want to see, I think, those steps. You want to see Riddle move from tag team guy to United States Championship level guy and then into the world title picture, right? That's the trajectory, and people want to invest in that type of ride. But you don't have that if you constantly treat the talent that Riddle has beaten and try to like rebuild them up right away. It just doesn't make any sense. And yeah, Sean, your point, Riddle won the feud. Why would they wrestle again? I guess you can make the argument that, well, the United States Championship's on the line, and I'm Riddle, and I beat Seth. I beat him, so I want a shot. I want a shot at the title. So I think you can make that argument. It doesn't make it good, though. It does not make it good. And I think all the problems with the match are still there. Even if you go ahead and do that. This would be interesting, Steven. If Brock or Lashley interfere and they make it a fatal 4-way for the United States title at Crown Jewel, I would actually be okay with that. I don't like multi-person matches, not a fan, but to have Brock Lesnar like around the United States Championship, being that it's the only singles male championship on Raw, that I think helps elevate that title a lot and that spot a lot. Like people will look at whoever is champion differently because, Brock kind of put it over at, even if he didn't win it, he kind of put it over at, well, okay, so this is the big deal on the show week to week. And I think that's important as you try to establish those secondary titles the way that WWE is trying to do. So really good point. Really good point, Steven. Appreciate it. That's it. That's it for Raw tonight, guys. So we'll see. I'm sure there'll be some other segments. I'm sure there'll be some Rey Mysterio stuff. I'm sure there'll be some Judgment Day stuff. And I'm sure there'll be women's division stuff too, but nothing promoted. So I thank you all for being here. I thank you all for your participation. It's always a blast to talk to you guys. And we will be back tomorrow night, or tomorrow afternoon, I guess I should say, for our NXT preview. So tune in then. But if you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel. I think you'll be really happy that you did. We're only 60 people away, less than 60 people away from hitting that 3,000 subscriber mark. It will be a huge kind of milestone for us, for the channel. So hopefully you guys can each tell a friend and get that done. Thank you. Appreciate it. Enjoy Monday Night Raw, and we'll catch you guys next time.